Gorgeous Geeks, and we're here today to talk about Priest, which was not that good.
It was okay.
It was okay, but I thought it'd be better than what it was. Like, I didn't expect it to be great, but it felt slow, but then it felt short.
Yeah. The thing about it is that if Priest would have came out like 10 years ago, it'd have been great. Like, we would have thought like, oh man, the movie was just awesome.
Yeah.
But when you got so many awesome movies that's come out about I like the idea of how these vampires are,
yeah,
versus the other vampires, and they had the potential to be so much more scarier.
Yeah,
like four-legged creatures that could crawl real fast and look like monsters. Actually,
they actually look like monsters.
Right. So I mean, like, just the whole, and they're way faster. Humans can't compete, and the whole idea that these special humans, that God gave them special powers in order to, in order to fight these monsters.
Yeah,
I mean, the whole idea, the core of it was just...
Yeah, it was a good idea. It's based off of this Korean graphic novel. The animation, I figured, well, I knew it was based off a comic book, but I didn't know if it, who did it prior to seeing it. But the opening credits and the story in the beginning is actually animated. And the animation, the fighting within that was actually better than the fighting and stuff in the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And Maggie Q was in it. She, I guess she's just known as Priestess in the movie. But she has better fighting scenes to me. And Nikita.
Yeah.
And her character.
I was expecting more from her because of Nikita.
Yeah, I thought, like Katrina said, she thought she was going to call the priest Michael at one point because, man, it was like she just came out of Nikita, but they just left some of the action behind. Like, they had action, but it just wasn't that great.
Well, when Daredevil came out, a lot of people, they did like Daredevil. Because... You mean to when Daredevil first came out, you didn't like it?
Not that much.
I mean, when we go back...
I didn't have to go back. I didn't like it that much at the time.
Well... Anyway, when you go back and you watch it, it's like, ugh, that's like this. When you compare it to the other ones, it's just like not that good.
Yeah, especially when you compare it to the other ones. Priest could have been.
It had the bones. It's kind of like when you watch America's Next Top Model. When you look at some of these girls and you're like, ugh, like they can't be models. But it's like Tyra and Mr. J, and they like see like the bone structure. They see the beauty that's there, and then they put makeup on them, and it's like, oh, it really is. They really are pretty.
And then they can't walk, run away.
Yeah. It's just like it's like we see the bones of this movie, like the potential of what this movie could be. But the makeup artist sucked.
Yeah, not really the makeup artist sucked, but yeah, it's just metaphor.
Metaphor.
I didn't really like the good guys that much, actually.
I like the back. I like Karl Urban.
Yeah, he was just known as Black Hat.
Black Hat. He was totally hot.
Okay, I've seen Interview with the Vampire, watched the Vampire Diaries, and we know that they only cast hot people on that show.
He's the sexiest vampire ever.
You can sit, you watch your Twilight, you can watch whatever Dracula, whatever film.
Edward all up in his head.
Everybody, seriously, Karl Urban is the hottest vampire ever. Ever.
It's just kind of like people was...
That was the hottest I've ever seen him.
It's just kind of like people won't leave these little girls want Edward to bite them on their neck. It's like, forget Edward, give me Karl.
Even Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise in Interview with the Vampire, they are not as hot as Karl Urban was in this movie.
Let's think about this.
He was just sitting in a chair at one point, and you couldn't even see his face.
Let's think about
just sitting in the chair. He was so hot.
Hold on. In that movie, we had Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, and Antonio Banderas.
And he was still hotter!
Karl Urban was still
seriously, he was. He could have slaughtered everybody. I knew when he was the bad guy, I'm like, it's going to be very hard to root against him.
Mm-hmm.
And
it still was. It was.
Yeah, it was. Because, okay, you're like, he needs to be stopped, but the thing is, you have these heroes, and they're fighting for people who've really turned their back on them.
Right.
They're like living in obscurity.
You didn't like anybody. Like, I liked the girl that they had to save. I liked her for a little bit that she was in there.
Yeah.
But there was nobody that you really cared about.
I mean, and the priests are just basically he was doing right for right's sake. You know, basically it wasn't anybody who was kind of on his side and wanted him to do the right thing. It was not that great of a film.
Yeah, it was okay.
And the sidekick Hicks was totally like worthless to me. I didn't even like their performance.
I forgot about him. I literally forgot about him until you mentioned him.
He was useless.
He was useless. That's how useless he was, and I forgot that he was in the movie until she mentioned him. That's how useless his character was. He was hot though. He was very cute.
It was predictable in the parts that I didn't guess. They should have just did with what I guessed because it would have been better.
But his character was useless.
So yeah, so I wouldn't really recommend this movie unless you just wanted to rent it. Like, do not see it in 3D.
Pointless. I could have kept my $250.
Yeah, it was pointless. Do not see it in 3D. But if you really do want to see,
I think all 3D is pointless.
If you want to see, yeah, but this one was particularly useless.
You think it was worse than Resident Evil?
Yes, as far as 3D, yes, I do.
Really?
Yeah, I was ready to just take off my glasses. I'm like, is anything in 3D? It was just not good. But I wouldn't recommend it really. But if you females really want to see a hot vampire, Karl Urban might be worth your $5.
Rent the movie.
Yeah, rent the movie.
And it frees the TV and just keep it on them right there.
Or just keep rewinding it.
That too.
Seriously, he's the best part of the film. He did a good job.
I like the girl that they had to say, but like I said, she wasn't in there that much.
But anyway, I'm Christina.
I'm Gina.
And we're the Gorgeous Geeks.